An egg, magically squeezed into a bottle. It took some doing to get the egg inside without breaking it. Now the problem is how to get it out. There are two ways. This way, simple and direct. Or another way, which leaves both bottle and egg intact. This astounding feat will be the first stop on our journey into the strange, the bizarre, the unexpected.
Go deep into ancient catacombs to meet some of the world's best-dressed mummies. Peel away the glitter of Las Vegas to see how hidden cameras keep an eye on the action. Take a close look at an Australian lizard that inspired a dance craze in Japan. Attend a class where future morticians learn to recreate the faces of the dead. Find out how experts make sure gamblers get a fair shot at a winning roll. Share the inspiration of a young boy who ignores the loss of his arms. Get as close as you dare to a frog that can kill with a single touch. Watch carefully as a professional dealer reveals the secrets of card cheats. Examine the remains of a Chinese holy man preserved under a thin layer of gold. The strange, the bizarre, the unexpected. These are the kinds of subjects a man named Robert L. Ripley challenged us to
believe it or not.
An egg can be more than an omelet. It can also be an object lesson in how to avoid some of life's more difficult problems. For example, sometimes all of us get into some tight situations. We set goals for ourselves, achieve them, and then discover we've painted ourselves into a corner and don't know how to get out. That's the problem this egg represents. It was one trick to get it in. It's going to take another trick to get it out. Unbroken and intact. Here's how you do it. You jiggle the bottle until the egg seems to seal the neck. Then, to create the pressure to force the egg out of the bottle, you pucker up and blow. Believe it or not. There are two things that are easy to find in Virginia City, Nevada: saloons and gambling casinos. One-armed bandits. That's what some people call slot machines. This one here even dresses the part. Slot machines are a way to gamble that requires no skill at all. You simply drop a coin in the slot, pull, and the machine does the rest. If you get the right combination, you get a payoff. These machines are part of a collection of gambling devices on display here at the Delta Saloon in Virginia City, Nevada. Slot machines were invented in 1898. Now, here's an antique model that always gives you something for your money. Music. Well, it's better than nothing. This one gives winners and losers something to chew on while they listen to the music. Chewing gum. The chances of striking it rich doing this are pretty slim. Slot machines are designed to make a profit for the house. And if you do win, you're winning some other player's money, and not theirs. It's a sucker bet, but if you don't have anything better to do, it's fun to play them.
In an effort to beat the odds, Americans step up to tables like these and bet over $26 billion a year on a variety of games of chance.
There we go.
To make sure the players get an honest deal, casinos like the Desert Inn Country Club and Spa in Las Vegas keep a quiet but constant vigil. Globes like this contain hidden cameras connected to a bank of television monitors that are scrutinized around the clock, 24 hours a day. The men stationed here control over 50 cameras that cover the action at every table in the casino. To spot a cheat, experienced observers look for any deviation in the ritual pattern each dealer is taught to follow. There is a rhythm and flow to every game, and any change in that flow triggers a closer look to see if the change is accidental or intentional.
Look right. This guy right here. I think he might be helping him out. Let's get another angle. Watch his hands.
A close-up look reveals a minor variation in the dealing pattern, but no clear evidence of fancy fingerwork. For the moment, the observers are satisfied that there is no need for immediate investigation. Videotapes, however, preserve questionable performances for later review. Even minor irregularities are routinely subjected to detailed analysis to make sure any such mistakes are honest mistakes. In this game, called 21 or blackjack, the dealer here adds a chip to a player's bet. A blatant cheat or a simple error? Neither. Upon investigation, the dealer's move turned out to be totally innocent. To make sure every player gets a fair shake, the Las Vegas Hilton employs Murph Stewart. He has examined over 1 million pair of dice. Without his approval, the casino will not put them into play. First, he checks each cube's thickness. It must be perfect to within 2/10,000ths of an inch. Next, he tests to make sure each one is absolutely square. The final test is for balance. The die must spin freely and smoothly. Any wobble would reveal a fault that would affect a natural roll. It might be loaded, fixed to favor a winning number. Among gamblers, men like Richard Turner are as much feared as they are respected. Cards are the tools of a trade he practices up to 14 hours a day. He is a card mechanic.
In the morning, I'll come over here, pick up a couple of decks from the night before, come over to my mirrors. I use the mirrors so I can see if I can catch myself cheating. And I like to warm up the fingers with a few exercises, such as shuffling cards with one hand, cutting them with one hand.
Turner relies entirely on his delicate sense of touch. He uses his amazing dexterity to expose the tricks cheaters use, a talent he also displays as an entertainer at San Diego's Reuben E. Lee Steamboat Restaurant. His reputation as a mechanic, however, is not based on fancy tricks, but on false dealing. The control of what card goes to which player. In this case, the ace of spades.
When the dealer chooses, that's when the ace of spades would be dealt. Watch face up.
The ace stays in place. Pros call this dealing seconds.
Till I'm ready to deal the top card. The card does not move. Watch again. I'll deal slow motion. Ace on top. Once again, it appears as though the card is coming from the top. Watch face up. And of course, you never have the privilege of watching from this angle. Stays till the dealer's ready to deal. Now, the most difficult of false deal in a pack of cards is after a deck is passed to be cut, to deal cards from the center of the deck. Now, I'll leave two of the cards face up.
No matter where the aces are in the deck, on command, Turner can turn one up to help a friend sitting, say, in the fifth position.
Say another number. Wherever you say, that's where the ace is going to be.
3.
1, 2, 3. So you can see and so you understand. This time the cards are being dealt from the middle. I'll put it a little further down. 2 more to go. Call another number.
6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Card work requires the skill and touch of a surgeon. Give me a number 10 to 20, and that's how many cards I'll hand you.
12.
12 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now I'm going to attempt to sort the deck according to weight, being that the face card is a heavier card and a number card is a lighter card. Let's see what we can do here.
The tiny difference in the weight of the ink is all that Turner needs to separate the picture cards from the number cards.
And I'll give you 5 to 1 odds on every card.
For Turner, feeling is the same as seeing.
Sometimes in a card game, at the end of the night, you will have the money. You'll give your opponent or opponents opportunity to cut double or nothing. The card you want to develop that touch for are the cards that beat the rest. I'll do it again.
To make such seemingly magical moves, Turner has been practicing since he was 7 years old. He uses his skills to reveal the manipulations of card sharks so that the innocent players can avoid being swindled.
Now watch very close. This will be a little more interesting. We'll twist the deck. Ace of spades.
No matter how many twists and turns the deck may take, the aces show up on cue.
4 aces cut from a shuffled pack of cards.
Such control of Lady Luck, however, is not to be found in glittering casinos. The fact is, in the pursuit of instant riches, for every winner, there is always a loser.
Trying to beat the odds in any casino is an uphill struggle. At one time, however, this game, called Faro, gave the player a fair chance at beating the house. This particular table is a little the worse for wear, but then it's been around since the 1860s. The game was fairly simple, and surprisingly, the odds favored the player. There was even an abacus to help the players keep track of what cards were dealt. As a matter of fact, at least 3 operators lost sizable fortunes at this table, and then made the loss permanent. by killing themselves. That's why they call this the suicide table. And that's also why you won't find this particular game in any modern gambling casino. Believe it or not. In his will, a dedicated gambler specified burial in a special coffin, sitting up with a deck of cards close at hand. Believe it or not. Here's
This particular piano concerto was written by the French composer Maurice Ravel to be played by one hand. It's entitled The Concerto for Left Hand, and it's performed by Daniel Pollack. Ravel wrote this piece because an aspiring young musician from Vienna commissioned it. His name was Paul Wittgenstein. He came from a distinguished family and was a concert pianist of great promise and determination. The promise, however, seemed doomed by World War I. Wittgenstein became an officer in the Austrian army, and while leading a patrol, was wounded. He was taken prisoner, and his right arm was amputated. His career as a concert pianist seemed to be over. Wittgenstein refused to accept defeat. He commissioned Ravel to compose this piece for one hand. And in Vienna, in 1931, Paul Wittgenstein performed it for the first time in public. Talent, determination. Together, they make more than music. They create a hymn to the limitless resources of the human spirit. Or in the classroom, however, that makes no difference at all to Andy. To his teachers and classmates, Andy is just another student.
2 fingers again.
He gets no special treatment and wants none. For him, learning to write is no more difficult than it is for any other first grader.
And E. And F. And a period.
Born and raised on a small farm on the outskirts of town, Andy lost his arms in an accident when he was 2.5 years old and barely escaped with his life. For a while, his ability to adapt to the loss was in doubt, but not anymore. At home, in washing before a meal, Andy demonstrates more than simple dexterity. It is a family routine, expected as much from him as from his brother and sister. From the beginning, Tom and Pat Detweiler decided to help Andy by letting him help himself. It was homemade treatment, and it worked. In time, Andy learned, instinctively and by himself, how to use his feet to get the job done. Some local people felt Andy's life wouldn't be worth living after the accident. Others said he would never be able to adapt. On the day he took to the water, Andy changed their minds. An artificial arm to expand Andy's capabilities was fitted within months after his 7th birthday. It was not a gift that Andy accepted with enthusiasm.
Move the cars around.
Why?
Despite the potential assistance it offered, learning how to use it was awkward and uncomfortable. And for him, it seemed not only unnatural, but unnecessary.
Yeah.
All these car's waiting on you. I know.
To convince Andy to try it at all requires considerable parental coaxing.
Not much sense in having your prosthesis on if you aren't going to use it.
Okay, take it off. Go on.
You're supposed to wear it for a while.
Oh, I can't use it anyway. Oh.
You're supposed to wear it for a couple hours every day.
Despite his mother's insistence, Andy has other ideas. Almost casually, he uses his toes to unbuckle the constraining harness. As determined as he is capable, Andy emerges as the winner of the debate.
You got to wear it this afternoon, then. You have to wear it when you play outdoors.
I don't have to wear it.
From his father, Andy has inherited the pride of being a farmer.
Can I drive?
Yeah, you can drive. Come on. Put it in gear.
Oh, should I put it in 3?
Push it forward. Okay.
Taking a turn behind the wheel of the family tractor is not just a lark. For Andy, it's a way to learn practical skills. It's also a chance for father and son to have a talk about the crops.
Well, I'll be finished cultivating corn next couple days.
Andy has ambitions to one day have a farm of his own. Farmers have always been an independent breed, and Andy Detweiler is no exception. Wayne Pronger is a composer and lyricist. He has had cerebral palsy since birth. He has very little control of his body, but his mind is filled with melodies and poetry. To commit his songs to paper is a painful struggle. To give them voice, he depends on country singer Tom Kelly.
Does that feel good to you?
No,
To learn to understand the composer's speech and gestures requires determined patience, in addition to the skill and talent to follow his directions. Through his friend, Wayne is able to express the poetry so long imprisoned in silence.
It'll soon be our wedding day. I'm so happy.
Lillian Barr also has cerebral palsy. Until meeting and proposing to her, Wayne wrote songs of loneliness and separation. Now he writes of romance and enduring love. In their relationship, Wayne has found a new inspiration. To celebrate their engagement, Tom Kelly performed Wayne's songs for a gathering of their friends. It was Tom Kelly's voice, but he was singing from Wayne Pronger's heart.
There will never be an angel as pretty as you. Without you, I would
Words and music by Wayne Pronger for Lillian Barr.
When we're apart, I spend my time writing love songs to you. There'll never be an angel as pretty as you.
Sailor Hank Decker sailed alone across the Pacific from San Francisco to Hawaii, despite being totally blind. Believe it or not. Don't you wish your... Jerusalem, a sacred city for 3 of the world's major religions, where the Bible still lives.
Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives. So wrote the Old Testament prophet Zechariah. This is the Mount of Olives in Jerusalem, one of the most sacred burial places in the world for faithful Christians, Jews, and Muslims. Because of the words of Zechariah, they believe this is the place where the day of resurrection will begin. The devout believe that burial here will guarantee them a preferential place on Judgment Day. For 2,000 years, religious people have come here to die or have their bodies shipped here for interment. Among the first to be buried here was the Old Testament prophet Zechariah. This is his traditional tomb. And it was his prophecy that has attracted so many for so long to make this their final resting place, where the dead will first be awakened.
The hope of life everlasting, a common human desire, expressed in the rituals of virtually every religion in the world. At the monastery of the Capuchin monks of Palermo, Sicily, reminders of death are not far away. They lie literally beneath the feet of the devout in a maze of ancient catacombs 30 feet below the surface. To find space for their dead, the monks opened the catacombs in 1602 when their small cemetery above ground became too crowded. Some of the brethren have been waiting patiently for Resurrection Day for nearly 400 years. At first, only members of the order were entombed here, wearing ropes, symbols of penance. Later, members of the nobility and others with proper church connections began to be admitted. Today, there are some 8,000 corpses here, all carefully and lovingly preserved and properly attired. Church records have also preserved many of their names as well. Meet Dr. Salvatore Mansella, a prominent surgeon of the last century. The clothes make the corpse, identifying an eminent dowager here, and here, a high-ranking churchman in the company of his peers. A young woman, the crown signifying she died a virgin. A military officer at ease in his rather expensive coffin. Rank has its privileges, even here. In the heart of the catacombs, there is the Chamber of the Children. Centuries old now, they stare down at the newest arrivals in the sanctuary below. Sealed in airtight coffins, they lie in nearly perfect preservation. Rosalia Lombardo, the last person interred in the catacombs, died in 1920 at 2 years of age. She rests now, her innocence preserved for all time. A few miles outside the bustling city of Hong Kong, high up on a quiet hilltop, stands another remarkable tribute to humanity's ancient quest for immortality. A worshipper's only access to the shrine at the top is gained by climbing 431 steps. Up these same steps, Workmen in the 1950s carried all the building materials needed to erect a splendid and unique structure. The central focus of their worship is within this temple, dedicated to Buddhism's answer to the mystery of future life, reincarnation. Reincarnation, the belief that the soul returns to life on earth again and again in a cycle of death and rebirth. In this temple, that philosophy finds abundant representation. For this is the temple of the 10,000 Buddhas. Each golden figure is 12 inches high, each one different from the other. They represent 10,000 reincarnations of the founder of the Buddhist religion, Buddha himself. The founder of this unique center of worship is also honored here, and he has achieved another form of immortality. The Reverend Yuet Kai, shown here at age 86. At age 87, he passed away after instructing his followers to clothe him in his robes, to place him upright in a box, then to bury him for 8 months. His last wishes were honored in every detail. When he was disinterred 8 months later, he was proclaimed to be in such an excellent state of preservation that he was promptly covered with gold. Such preservation of their leader, down to the fine hairs of his eyelids and eyebrows, and even his mustache and beard, was their final tribute to his saintliness. His gilded body was placed in his temple, and here he sits today, immortalized in gold.
The mouth is the hardest part. It's the key to the whole expression in a face. Don't you think? And now, I'll show you a universal rule about noses. If you want to get the length right, remember this. The length from the root to the end will always be just about the same as from the tip of the index finger to the second joint. Yeah. It's useful information when you have someone's finger, but part of his nose is missing. This isn't an ordinary art class. It's part of a program to train morticians and undertakers, the people who prepare corpses for funerals.
A class in restorative art. Students learn to reshape ears, to reconstruct entire faces, to recreate, step by step, the familiar likeness of the departed. About 120 students enroll in the program each year, but only about 80 make it to the end. The rest drop out. It's not hard to imagine why. You see, students begin by practicing on masks and models. Eventually, they have to move on to the real thing. A fine likeness. But reports of my demise are somewhat exaggerated. English eccentric Richard Hull specified in his will that he be buried on horseback, upside down. Believe it or not.
What puts you ahead of the curve?
This little frog is a killer. It's got a name that's bigger than it is, Phyllobates terribilis, which is appropriate even in Latin. It is terrifying. Just touching this particular frog can kill. There's a poison on its skin so deadly that 1/1000th of an ounce can kill a human being just by being absorbed by a scratch, a cut, or an abrasion. Indians in South America, where the frog comes from, extract the poison from its skin to use on the tips of their weapons. That's why Phyllobates terribilis is also called the poison dart frog. In nature, lethal danger is commonplace. It lurks even in the gentle waters of a tranquil English pond, where the surface is in fact a battleground. The struggling fly is doomed, but it will not die by drowning. Its efforts to save itself create vibrations picked up by an ever-alert enemy. A water walker homes in on its prey. The pond surface is the water walker's domain, a glassy floor that supports hundreds of different species of insects, specially adapted to walk on water. Their feet have tufts of hair that help them float. Most have long legs that keep their bodies well clear of the clinging surface. One strange type, called the boatman, walks on the underside of the surface, upside down. The double insect travels in pairs, the male always holding on to the female. Their combined weight pushes the surface almost to the breaking point, a fine, delicate balance. A passing summer rain brings utter chaos. The drops shatter the surface. The walkers scurry to a secure anchorage. The havoc isn't limited to the pond's surface. The misfortune of an aphid becomes an opportunity for a pair of water walkers. Survival on the pond is a constant struggle, full of constant surprises. For the giant swamp spider, the pond provides a never-ending feast, for it is the largest spider in England. Half a world away lives a creature noted not as a hunter, but as a lover. In the jungles of New Guinea, the bird of paradise puts more energy into courtship than any other bird. 100 feet and more above the jungle floor, a unique ritual begins as various males compete in their efforts to attract a mate. Each male keeps strictly to his own branch. A female is attracted, smaller and less colorful than the males, but desperately desired. They stop and start their synchronized frenzy with a precision that seems rehearsed. They appear perfectly matched, but only one will be chosen. Responding to some subtle difference, the female makes her favor known. The loser is left alone. Here, as elsewhere, the one who wins is the one who makes all the right moves. In Australia's desolate outback, it takes all the right moves for a baby-frilled lizard to break free of its egg. He's small and vulnerable, but very determined. He has to be. There is no parent to help, shelter him, or defend him, and danger is everywhere. Within hours, his life is threatened. The neck that flares out is not a weapon, only a bluff. The lizard stands his ground. With self-confidence and amazing agility, the frilled lizard has survived. In time, little lizards grow to full, ferocious adulthood. With age and maturity, the frilled lizard learns he can either fight or flee. Lately, something new has happened to the frilled lizard. In Japan, he has emerged as an unlikely celebrity. He's become a television star, and for millions, the source of strange inspiration. Lizard dolls have appeared. Frilled lizard mania. Perhaps in time it will simply and mercifully disappear.
Fine, rich cloth. It can be put to many uses in life and perhaps in death. By tradition, a cloak like this helped the ambitious Walter Raleigh win the favor of a queen, Elizabeth I of England. The queen, out walking with her courtiers, was stopped by a patch of mud too wide to step around. In that instant, Walter Raleigh whipped off his cloak and covered the mud so that his queen could pass. A flourish that caught the queen's eye and became an immortal gesture of gallantry. Raleigh soon became an intimate of Queen Elizabeth's and thereby rose to great power and prestige. But after the queen's death, Raleigh fell into disfavor. Eventually, he was found guilty of treason and sentenced to die a traitor's death. His head was hacked from his body. His corpse was quickly buried, but Raleigh's widow would not part with his severed head. She had it embalmed and kept it beside her at home in a bag made of fine velvet. When visitors came to call, she invited them to look upon it. Some of the guests went considerably further than just looking. On several occasions, one Bishop Goodman took the sacred relic in his hands, raised it, and in a gesture of ultimate respect and admiration, kissed it. He then returned it to the tender care of Raleigh's widow. In time, she died. Soon after, her husband's severed head simply vanished from history. But Sir Walter Raleigh is remembered to this day, not for the grotesque homage paid him after death, but for the immortal gesture of gallantry he once made to his beloved queen. Believe it or not.
From man-made miracles to unexplainable phenomena, there's still more fascinating facts yet to be explored as the Ripley's Believe It or Not Marathon continues. Sci Fi Channel next.